What's going on, Vancouver? Welcome to the Vancouver Fitness Podcast, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to eliminate food cravings altogether once and for all. And everybody's had food cravings before, whether it was sugar cravings or whether it's pizza cravings or whether it's chips cravings, whatever it is, there's a way to completely eliminate them altogether, and that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Josko, and I am the host of this podcast and one of the owners at Cravings Fitness in Burnaby. And I'm sitting across from Brandon Nye,
who's a strength and conditioning coach, jiu-jitsu black belt, and the co-owner of Cravings Fitness. And together, we've helped thousands of people achieve their body composition and performance goals. So, welcome to the podcast.
And roll the intro. All right, before we dive into the podcast, you went somewhere last night. I saw your Instagram, and I want to hear about it because you were like in some kind of ice bath. Like, where the hell did you find that?
As weird as this is going to sound, I was at like a microbrewery for a kombucha place.
What?
It was wild. It was really cool. So,
it was wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's quite a way to define
everything that I do that is cool and I enjoy. I describe it as wild.
Yeah, sounds like you're a millennial.
Yeah, it was bussin'.
Yeah.
No cap.
Oh my God, don't even.
So my girlfriend and I, we usually take turns planning date nights. So 1 month she'll do it, and then another month I'll do it. So it was her time to actually plan the date month, and she wanted to surprise me. So she booked this place called Tality Kombucha, and it's in North Van. It was really cool, but it's funny because like the instructions are very vague. So you pay for an allotment of time. I think it's an hour and a half time. And they shoot you an email, and the email's just basically, it says, oh yeah, you're going to see our shop front on the front side, park a car there, and then you're going to walk around the back alley, and you're going to enter into the back. And it's like the industrial area of North Van. It's weird. So you're like, okay. And you walk through this back alley, and then you just kind of hear some random people there. And there's this like chain fence that has like tarps over it. And you knock on the door, and some guy comes and gets you. And there's a small area there where there's like a fire pit. There's a wood burning sauna. And there's multiple sets of ice baths and unlimited kombucha bar. So the idea is you go through hot, cold cycles. So you'll jump in an ice bath for 5 to 10 seconds. You'll run into the sauna, try to hit the sauna for about 15 minutes. And then after, try to do a cold push. And you'll try to push this ice bath for anywhere between 1 to 2 minutes. And then after, you just kind of drink kombucha and you hang out by the fireplace.
Nice. Did you bring your plaid jacket and grow your beard?
Yeah, man bun is loading right now. It's
nice.
like
You got the big rim glasses.
Yeah.
Nice.
It was pretty hipster, but it was pretty awesome. So I think that one of the takeaways of this is, yeah, you want to relax and you want to connect with other people there, but like doing the hard shit like makes you feel so much better at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
That was like my main mission. I was sitting in this ice bath, and I've done like cold immersion baths before, but like actual ice, it was so hard.
Yeah.
It was so hard. And the entire time you're sitting in an ice bath and you're just like, oh my God, it's only been 10 seconds. All right, I'm going to try to get to 30. And you're like, this hurts. I want to get out. Okay, just try to get to 40. Ow.
Yeah. So I understand that there's like some science that shows like health benefits and stuff. But I think the biggest thing with ice baths is basically just like the discipline. I
think it's just mental fortitude.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's that more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because the funny thing is there they have like a Hall of Fame, and the Hall of Fame is called the 6-Minute Club, and these people are sitting in these ice baths for 6 minutes.
Dude, I'm in, man.
I got to a minute and a half, and I felt like I could barely walk.
You could barely walk after?
Yeah.
Wow, that's like, crazy.
Your body is like vibrating from the hyperventilation. I felt like I was in like hypothermia. I was having hypothermia, and it took me a while to warm up.
Well, Brandon, it sounds like you're a bitch.
Yeah. But felt good. Like slept like a baby last night.
Yeah.
As soon as I had dinner after,
I guess because your body like went into shock pretty much.
Actually.
Yeah.
Like physical shock.
Yeah.
Like I left and my It was weird. When you jump back in the sauna, your surface, like your skin, is warm because it's really hot, wood burning sauna.
But you're cold inside?
But you're cold inside.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was like medium rare.
I was thinking of getting an ice bath like thing out here in at my house. I just need to figure out, because like I don't want to like keep buying ice for it. Like I have to find one that like can just cool on its own.
You should just get like a deep freezer.
A deep freezer and just go inside?
Yeah.
You know, okay, we're kind of going way off topic here, but I do want to bring this up. Like, do you remember those cryotherapy things where you just go into it and it's like really cold for like 60 seconds or something? I did that and I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. I didn't get anything out of it. Felt exactly the same after. And I think that's probably why it died off so fast. Because I literally don't think that there's like any benefit.
Well, what I actually found out yesterday was, coincidentally enough, I ran into a bunch of health practitioners there. So I met like 2 or 3 chiropractors there, and they had their own clinic, and they were trying to acquire one of these cryo chambers. In Canada, it's actually illegal to sell and import these cryo chambers.
Really?
They've tried to import them up to Canada, but we have some kind of stupid law that we can't have them here.
I don't think there's any benefit. I don't believe it. Because I did it and I didn't feel anything at all. That's how I always test things in life, to see like how I feel. If it makes a difference, then it's worth it. But if it doesn't make any difference, I don't believe it. I should feel a difference after at least like one session. I should be like, okay, I feel something, you know?
I could imagine
It wasn't even cold.
I can imagine just an insane rush of cortisol that would just make you wake up.
I did the cryotherapy. I didn't even feel cold. I felt like I think I did 60 seconds, and I thought I could stay in there for like another 5 minutes.
Really?
It wasn't that cold.
This ice bath, I could not.
Ice bath is completely different. Yeah,
I could not stay in there for 2 minutes.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah,
even when I got out, I felt like I couldn't walk.
If you're immersed, that's totally different. But if it's just kind of blowing cold air at you, I don't think so. By the way, if you're enjoying this episode, tag us on Instagram at Coach Kraken and at Vancouver Fitness Podcast. Our goal with this podcast isn't to sell you anything, but it's just to give the experts in Vancouver a voice and a platform so they can share their knowledge and bring us more value. And now back to the podcast. Today, like we said, we're going to be talking about how to eliminate cravings. And like I mentioned in the intro, it is a lot easier than people think. And because if you understand what cravings are, then it's going to be so much easier for you to just like kick them. And cravings are basically the body's response to not feeding it adequate nutrition. Like that's basic fact. Like you're craving things because your body is craving them. It's not because your brain is broken or like anything like. It's not because you have a sweet tooth or anything like that. It's not genetics. It's literally your body just craving things. And like there's been reports of pregnant women who crave dirt when they're pregnant. And it's like, are you craving dirt because like you're hungry for dirt, like because you have a dirt tooth? It's ridiculous, right? You're craving dirt because there's something inside it, whether it's like copper, iron, or like some kind of heavy metal.
Kind of minerals.
And exactly, vitamins and minerals, there's something in the dirt. And that should be telling you something.
Isn't it crazy how far our food has come, where it's actually so removed from all that nutrition?
You gotta crave dirt.
You crave dirt.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Well, yeah, who knows exactly why they crave dirt, but yeah, for sure. It's definitely like that. They're just not getting adequate nutrition and other things, so they're craving dirt.
Don't you ever see like dogs do that, where you like take your dog out, and if you're not feeding it good nutrition, it'll like eat a bunch of grass?
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you doing that? And then
it just knows.
Yeah. It just knows it needs to eat some kind of, I don't know, fresh source of food.
You know what sucks with science, right? So science, like, I agree, science great and all, and I think that there's a lot of like, good studies out there, but we're kind of limited because we can only do so much where to a point where it's like unethical, where, like I think the last like really solid studying like saturated fats versus unsaturated fats, it was done in like the 1960s or something. Don't quote me on that, like 1940s, 1960s. And they actually like put people in a room, fed one group unsaturated fat, fed the other group, and then like so they know for sure, right? And then they like test it to see like which one is healthier, right? Yeah, that kind of stuff, you can't do it.
Yeah, dietary.
It's unethical.
Yeah, it's unethical. And then when you send people home and just be like, all right, this is what you're supposed to eat. They're like, okay.
Yeah,
and then
yeah,
you come
yeah.
back 2 weeks later and like, did you eat it? And they're like, yes,
Yeah.
yes, we did.
Paycheck, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the thing with studies. It's like it's really hard. And like just like people, yeah, because it's user error, right? People are just making shit up and it's really hard. So yeah, unfortunately we can't do studies like that anymore, and we're not going to be able to figure out like exactly what nutrients people need. But anyway, back to the cravings part of thing. So cravings are your body's response to not feeding it adequate nutrition. So basically, like one of the best ways for you to like really alleviate those cravings is to understand exactly what you're craving and then give your body that thing that it's craving. And most of the time, it's like just adequate nutrition, adequate calories. Like a lot of the time, people are under eating and the body's craving for more food. So like you have to eat more food. However, like if you're in a fat loss phase or anything like that, you're going to have to exert some sort of discipline. But at the end of the day, like if you're at your body weight that you want to be, just like stop underfeeding. It's one of the best ways to give yourself adequate nutrition. Yeah.
Yeah, I think people get stuck in this starvation mindset, especially when they're trying to kick a craving. They think they're going to be able to cut cold turkey off these things when they've been addicted to them for who knows how many years and years, months and months on end, right? And when they regress a little bit, they just like, oh, I kind of fell off. I might as well just like completely fall off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you start eating actual real food with real nutrition, like these cravings come back less and less and less.
Totally. There is also like an emotional response to cravings as well, which is really interesting. And people need to understand this as well. It's like a lot of the reasons why you're craving things is because you think that it's going to bring you, like, take you either away from pain or towards pleasure. And oftentimes, it's not the case. You actually end up creating even worse problems down the line. So as an example, right? Let's say your wife got mad at you and you're feeling like sad or something. I don't know. Just like you're feeling sad, right? And then you usually turn to like a bag of chips to make it feel better. Now that that behavior is reinforced, right? Because the thing is, you eat the chips when you're sad, and the chips make you happy, and then it's like almost like that the sadness is okay because I'm feeding myself chips. But then what happens is like after you eat the bag of chips, you feel sad, and now the thing that's supposed to bring you happiness brings you more sadness, right? So you have to understand like exactly why you have this craving, and like if you're eating just to be happy, like understand that it's not, the food is not going to take you there. It's not going to take you to happiness, and it's just going to spiral and make things worse. And you're not actually fixing the actual root issue. It's like if you, let's say your wife angered you or made you sad or whatever, it's like instead of eating the bag of chips, why don't you just go talk to your wife? Like that's what would actually make you feel better, right? But yeah, people tend to eat food, do drugs, drink alcohol to make them feel better.
But going back to like your bag of chips example, you eat a bag of chips that's devoid of any kind of vitamins, minerals that you actually need, and then your body actually starts craving more processed food.
Yeah.
Because what you put in it is not really satiating. It's like high in calories, and you're getting absolutely nothing out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's a vicious cycle where you want more and more and more of it. But if you actually fed yourself something that has vitamins, minerals, good source of protein, good source of carbs, then your body starts not wanting those things anymore because it's full. It's actually satiated for the levels that it's supposed to be at.
So that kind of goes into the next point where it's like about like eating carbs and sugar.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they have a sweet tooth, they get cravings for sugar and sweets and things like that. And the best way for you to eliminate those sugar cravings is to just eat sugar. Like, why not eat sugar? There's nothing like scientifically wrong with sugar. And I'm not telling you, like, when I say sugar, I'm not saying like donuts. I'm not saying cake. I'm not saying like Coca-Cola. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is like eat more carbs and sugar, like when like the actual, you know, like fruit, honey. You have like rice, bread, right? Those are all carbs and sugar, and those are completely fine for you to eat. And the best way to completely eliminate your sugar cravings is just to eat it. Yeah.
I think people get mixed up with like table sugar and just carbohydrates in general. Carbohydrates are sugars. That's like the definition of a carbohydrate.
Yeah.
Right. So, but now with all this processed food, we have extra added like sucrose and everything. But again, that extra giant increase in sucrose, but with no fiber to add to it if you had it with fructose in fruit.
No fiber, but also completely devoid of any other nutrients as well. Like zero other nutrients.
Exactly.
Like, so yeah, like your donut is going to have absolutely nothing with it. And then so what ends up happening is like people overeat on those foods and then get fat, get more cravings for those type of foods because they give them adequate nutrition, because outside of eating those foods, like they're basically eating nothing. And then so they get fat, and then now they get like health problems, and like a lot of those health problems come from nutrient deficiencies. If you ate nutrient dense foods with sugar and with carbs, you will fix those nutrient deficiencies, and then you won't be craving those foods anymore. So one of the best things I've done to eliminate sugar cravings altogether was actually just eat like way more sugar. And then now I don't really crave anything at all. Yeah, like it was, I just eat the sugar, and then now I don't have any cravings. I don't crave chocolate. I don't crave, yeah. It's kind of even hard to eat like the sugar. You're just like, oh, like another piece of fruit. Damn. Yeah.
And the funny thing is like when we say, well, when a lot of people say don't eat sugar, like they think they need to like completely abstain from eating everything, right? Because that's all that's been in their diet really. And they abstain from everything, and they feel super hungry, and they've lost all their like willpower because you're having these slight withdrawals from being like, my body's like, oh, I'm so used to eating this processed sugar. But feed it back something, feed that hole, fill that void, and then all those cravings will go away.
One of the easiest ways for you to get more sugar and carbs in general is just to have more like actual real fruit juices. Like if you were actually juicing like real fruit, such an easy way to add calories and nutrients at the same time, and then also add honey. Yeah, super easy, and then like easy to digest. It just gets like absorbed immediately.
Instantly.
Yeah, and then that will eliminate all your sugar cravings. Like if you had a sugar craving, like just have a glass of orange juice, and I guarantee you that sugar craving is gone. So yeah, just eat the freaking carbs, people.
Kind of on a side note, but kind of like off track a little bit. Have you ever heard of like mouth rinsing?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So there's like studies for athletic populations where you can trick your brain into generating more ATP by rinsing your mouth with like Gatorade and spitting it out.
But you do still absorb some for sure.
You do absorb some in your mouth. Like there's like salivary amylase that breaks down certain simple sugars in your mouth. But just the fact that you're rinsing it in your mouth and spitting it out, just having sugar in your mouth will allow you to gain more energy.
Yeah, isn't that hilarious?
Crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember there was one time where I was walking down the street, and then like this guy in front of me just like fell over, and I walked up to him, and I could like smell like alcohol in his breath, and I was like, what the hell? Anyway, we called 911, fire trucks come, and then he's just like on the ground like seizing, and then I thought he was like seizure and drunk or something. I don't know. But then the firefighters came, and then like they just like put like sugar inside his mouth, and he just like woke up. It was like as soon as the sugar touched his mouth, he woke up, and it's like, oh, he's diabetic.
It's that absorbable.
Yeah. He didn't have to swallow or anything. They just like rubbed the paste inside his mouth. That's how effective sugar is.
Right.
At giving you like just rebalancing you.
Yeah. So how do we stop ourselves from overdosing with sugar?
So I don't necessarily know how easy it is to overdose on sugar. Like I'm pretty sure you can just go infinitely up until you're gaining weight. But the best way to manage your cravings altogether is by figuring out that you're like if you're getting adequate nutrition. And the best way to figure out if you're getting adequate nutrition is by tracking your calories. Done. Like there's nothing else to talk about. You have to track your calories to see like how much carbs am I getting, how much sugar, because there's been so many times that I've had conversations with people, and it's like, oh, you're getting headaches, you're getting you have all these like health issues, and it's like, oh, those health issues are from low carbohydrates, low sugar. And then they're like, no, I eat enough carbs. It's like, do you really eat enough? Like, how do you know that? Because I see your Instagram. I don't believe it.
Right. And then your body's not going to react well to like highs and lows of blood sugar. Right. These lows are going to incite lots of cravings, and then you're going to crash it with tons of sugar if you're not like measuring it, and you're going to get this big peak, and then you're going to drop it back down, big peak. But if you can kind of level that out and give your body some kind of consistency, and so it knows exactly what to expect, then you're not going to have these lows of lows and highs of highs.
Totally. And then also like going back to the emotional response to cravings, if you have your meals scheduled in the middle in your day, 1 hour from when I wake up, I have my first meal. For lunch, I have this meal. For like after work, I have this meal. For dinner, I have this meal. Like if you have your meals all set out, then you're not going to have such a big emotional response to cravings. Because your body's always getting nutrients inside. If you don't know when or where your next meal is going to come from, that's when you're going to get emotional cravings. When something happens in your day, you're going to be like, oh, like I need to like just turn to get like some like croissant.
I think it's a built-in response from we're hunters and gatherers to be like, you're getting hungry, really low blood sugar, and cortisol is going to go up, and you're like, I need to get something in me now.
Yeah.
Right. And you're going to have this very heightened sense of awareness. But in our modern day, we're sitting at a desk.
Yeah.
So no wonder you're getting like this anxiety.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's one of the best ways for you to eliminate your anxiety is just by like feeding yourself. Like most of our cortisol comes from inadequate nutrition. It's not so much like your work stress, your family stress is so much more manageable if you're actually eating right.
Yeah. If we go back to kind of emotional response to cravings too, like one of the things that's helped me a ton is learning how to replace the emotional response of whatever I'm craving. So for instance, sometimes I would crave ice cream, but now I've kind of replaced it with frozen grapes. It's one of my favorite things because realistically, all I was craving was something cold after my meal.
Yeah.
And slightly sweet. Mm-hmm. So now I get like green seedless grapes from Costco, and I'll like wash them off, dry them, and I'll freeze them. Best thing ever.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Like, so sometimes what you're craving is more texture. So like before you're about to eat, it's like instead of asking yourself like, do I want something sweet or savory? Ask yourself like, what texture do you want? And then give yourself that texture. Way easier to figure out like how to design your meals and stuff. You know which texture you're craving. You want something crunchy? Do you want something cheesy? Texture is so important when understanding cravings.
You don't think it's going to be, but it's very powerful.
Totally.
And instantly after my meal, I feel like I got my fix, and it's 18 grams of carbs.
Yeah. I want to do that seedless grape thing. If only they just sold it at Costco already frozen.
I think they do, actually.
Really?
Yeah, but it's obviously way more expensive to get it like that. And how hard is it to take grapes off a stem and put them in the freezer?
And then wash them? Yeah, no, totally. For sure. So that's our take on eliminating cravings. Way easier than you think. Don't overthink it. Just get adequate nutrition. And when you're craving something, you're craving something for a freaking purpose. Just eat. But don't stay away from the highly processed shitty food and just have good, adequate, nutritious foods. You won't get cravings anymore. Guaranteed. Anyway, we're going to wrap that up and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.